20% of the cases we're seeing are in Florida. There are steps and precautions that can be taken, including encouraging people to get vaccinated, encouraging people to wear masks, including allowing schools to mandate masks and allowing kids to wear masks, which is not the current state of play in Florida. So, at a certain point, leaders are going to have to choose whether they're going to follow public health guidelines or whether they're going to follow politics. And we certainly encourage all governors to follow the public health guidelines.
So here's the Biden administration's double standard on the coronavirus. You saw there White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki slamming Florida Governor Ron DeSantis over state protocols for COVID itself. But COVID positive migrants are actually being released by the federal government into the general population. Fox News' Bill Melugin is at the border in La Jolla, Texas, with the latest details. This is pretty clear hypocrisy, Bill.
Yeah, it is. Look, and Border Patrol agents here in the Rio Grande Valley are still completely overwhelmed right now. The surge is not slowing down because of the summer heat or anything like that. Things just keep getting worse and worse. Take a look at this video we shot here in La Jolla, Texas last night. Another group of migrants just showing up. We see this every night. You see some of them waving to the camera. Some of them were doing little flips. They're excited to be here, knowing that if they claim asylum, they might get a bus ticket down to McAllen, get processed, and then be able to fly somewhere else in the country or travel somewhere else in the country, because a lot of these family units are just being caught and released. And we're hearing from DHS sources that Border Patrol manpower is getting really short out here. Essentially, there are so many family units coming across that border agents are being pulled off the line and they're being forced to go process these families. And as a result, there are not enough agents out here to actually patrol the physical border. And the sector chief for the Rio Grande Valley actually tweeted about this, saying, quote, "RGV agents' primary mission is protecting the front line, but shifts these days are consumed with processing, hospital watch, and checkpoints. The days of line watch operations are few and far between," end quote. And this coming as some staggering numbers are set to be released. The federal government is predicting that for the month of July, they will have apprehended a staggering 210,000 migrants in one single month. That would be a new 20-year record high on top of the June numbers, which in itself were a 20-year record high. So what we did was we pulled together a little montage of some Biden administration officials kind of downplaying this border crisis for the past several months. Take a listen to what they've been saying.
It happens every single solitary year.
We've dealt with this before. It is often seasonal. It is often cyclical.
The border remains closed.
We have seen extreme progress over these last few months.
So again, it's unclear exactly what extreme progress is being made down here. Border Patrol's own numbers are shooting through the roof. COVID infections are spiking. It's certainly not seasonal because it's the middle of summer right now in August, and this is only getting worse and worse. And the border certainly is not closed based off what we've seen on the ground. Your viewers can look at the video we've been showing for the last few months and decide for themselves. We'll send it back to you.
By the way, dozens and dozens of Border Patrol agents have come down with COVID as a result of their interactions with these migrants, too. We don't want to forget about them. They've been putting their lives on the line here. Bill, Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Joining me now to discuss this is David Webb, radio host and a Fox Business contributor. David, it's extraordinary, the gall of Biden officials to be pointing the finger at COVID protocols in Florida when they're allowing thousands and thousands of migrants loose and sending them into the general population, not just in Texas. It'd be bad enough if it was just there, but they're sending them to all points in the United States with COVID.
When you look back a couple of weeks ago, Governor DeSantis came out and spoke about the travel that was coming into the state of Florida, illegal aliens who were making their way to the state, whether through an NGO, a private organization, or as a result of the Biden administration efforts. This is going on all over the country. On the border, they've flat out lied. And I'm sorry, David, but there's no other way to put it. They know what's going on. Their policies put this in place. You look at the two whistleblowers from Fort Bliss. You talk about lice-infested facilities at Fort Bliss, 60 case workers per 5,000 children. The numbers go up and down. And ignoring the fact that they're not testing properly and containing these migrants that are crossing our borders illegally, while Catholic charities and other organizations bust them out. And kudos to Bill, because he has done an amazing body of work on laying this out on video for the American people to see.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's a crime that the rest of the media is just ignoring. At first, they couldn't avoid it. I think somebody at the White House called them up and said, hey, guys, don't play into the hands of the anti-immigrant crowd, et cetera. But if you care about immigrants, you got to care about the way that they're being treated, too. And they're being treated terribly while Vice President Harris is saying that things are getting better. It just goes directly against the truth.
It goes completely against the truth. Look, this is a situation, David, where the administration wants a problem that's too big to fix. These are deliberate actions. While Vice President Harris was carrying out that sham visit to El Paso, Texas, not really where the major surge is, where there's actually a wall and a reduced flow significantly, she wasn't doing anything about the COVID infections coming across the border and those that we haven't caught because we're so busy with our Border Patrol agents becoming child babysitters.
Yeah.
Instead of working the border, assisting other law enforcement, state in Texas and otherwise, what are they doing? They're babysitting children. At the same time, they were planning and talking about building 3 new processing centers at the border states. Well, if you're building processing centers, how can there be a reduction and how can it not be a crisis?
Exactly. And the truth is coming out. Despite the media blackout, a lot of people have been tuning into Fox for it. They see it on the internet, or they live near the border or hear from folks who do. And Biden's taking a hit. You look at the polls. There was a new poll that just came out showing him down 10%. Of course, a lot of people want Vice President Harris to be replaced because of this. So the truth is getting out, and it is having an effect on voters.
Yeah, it is. And those voters are the people in these communities. When you think about it from a resource and even an economic perspective, these resources are being drained in schools. They're being drained in medical services as illegal aliens are bussed around the country. They have to be paid for in some way. And eventually, government contracts with groups like Endeavor only carry so far. Local communities, which means local taxpayers, they begin to absorb the costs. And when you think about California, the worst, look at other states and the rising costs of education, rising costs of medical care, and look at the resources being used up within those communities.
Absolutely. David Webb, great to see you again, my friend. Thank you very much for being here.